Call a meeting of the Bay County Board of Commissioners to order Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, fourth floor Board of Commissioners chamber. Roll call, please.
Nemec. Present. Gnajiak.
Present.
Millette.
Here.
Parrott.
Here.
Radke. Here. Hoyer.
Present.
Pickett.
Here. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we ask that you grant to this Board of Commissioners and all those in authority the patience and understanding to work together for the good of all people. In your holy name we ask this. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the minutes from 11/21/23.
Motion approved.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have the agenda approval.
Move to approve.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have citizen input. We're going to ask 5 minutes. Mr. Rowley has asked to go number 1. You can sign your name as you want. At least introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, County Executive Director, and staff. I'm Glenn Rowley. I'm the supervisor of beautiful Bangor Township and a board member of the College River Watershed Association. I've come to you many times to educate you about the earmark from President Biden's budget for flood control on the Cuckolin River. Don't worry, I don't have any maps, I don't have any photos, and I didn't bring that funnel with me here today. I'm here to simply ask for your support to finish what we started more than 2 years ago. I've stated numerous times that this is not a Bangor Township issue. In fact, there are 53 drains in 6 different townships that drain in the Cuckolin River. The watershed consists of approximately 250 square miles, and that represents many flooded homes, basements, sewer drain backups, flooded roadways that are often forced to be closed. In fact, FEMA opened a temporary office in Bay County just a few years ago. Upon watching your last meeting, I heard my name in Bangor Township mentioned many times. If there's a personal bias towards me, that's fine. I can appreciate that. But please do not let that negatively impact the safety and the well-being of the residents living within 250 square mile radius. Nobody deserves to be the victim of flooding events. You are in a position to protect many residents and their property. Even if they may not live in a particular district of the county, I would like to think that we can make a positive difference. Another item to consider is that failure to secure the federal support could possibly impact future assistance and funding. So in closing, I ask that you look beyond me, beautiful Bangor Township, and support all of the residents of the watershed and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. At some point, we have some seating upstairs, and anybody have any empty seats? We have a couple people standing. We have room upstairs, too. Yep. Any other public comment?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My name's David Grappin. I'm a resident of the Cuckolin River, 3151 Schiller. I built a house in '86 there. We also have a Century Farm that was established in 1880, and we also own 60 acres on the south end of the Cuckolin Rivershed project, which we've already put filter strips in, planted 1,400 trees on my brother's 60,000 trees on the other one. So we're trying to help, but we need help from the board members to have the river dredged, because we do have flooding at times, especially when you get 3-4 inches of rain in the spring, when the ground's still frozen. It's got to go somewhere. And one of the things I've noticed in the last couple of years is like the Whitney drain. Yeah, the Whitdew drain that goes through Willard, it is huge. It's bigger than the South Branch. Now that's got to drain into something. And the mistake they did on the Tittawassee River, where they put a spillway on Sanford, then they didn't do it on Wixom, then they put it on Second Dam, then Seacourt Dam. Well, when it rained 4 inches, it came over them spillways. Well, they didn't put one on Wixom. And what happened? We had a catastrophic flood. Now, you got these drains opened up. What's going to happen when they got no place to go? And you really got to think about, where's this water going to go? And if the mouth is plugged, it can't get out. And living there, I've seen it one time when the ice piled up. I took a tape measure and it moved 2 inches up in 5 minutes. I figured it was going to, it flooded my neighbor's house, and I'm not in the floodplain. And I figured I had an hour. Luckily, it broke at the Euclid Street Bridge, not Salisbury, State Park Bridge, but then it jammed up again at the mouth. And it started coming up the same speed, and it did flood my neighbor's homes. But thank you, and please consider about dredging.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tracy Cook. I am proud to serve on the Board of Directors for the Cuyahoga River Watershed Association and also as a trustee for Bangor Township. I don't live on the Cuyahoga River, but I do live within the watershed. That's why I'm here today to advocate for this funding that is at stake. There seems to be some misconceptions about the purpose of this project. I have to believe the Army Corps of Engineers wouldn't choose this project if they didn't believe there was a viable cause. I'm sure you're all aware of how the drainage works in your own areas. I provided handouts, my assistants helping me today, to help everyone understand just how big the Cuyahoga River watershed is and how many people are affected by it. I obtained these maps from the Drain Commissioner's website. For each township, I highlighted the river and the drains that empty into them, just for the sake of everyone. Bangor Township has 7 drains, Monitor 12, Williams 8, Cuyahoga 11, Beaver 7, and Garfield 8. The geographic location of where the Cuyahoga River ends does not mean the cost to maintain it should fall on Bangor Township. As far as an assessment, it is also not the responsibility of the homeowners who live on the river to maintain drainage for almost half the county. I'm sure the homeowners, business owners, and farmers that reside in the entire watershed would appreciate the maintenance of our drainage system. I'm asking you to please take some time to review this information and make the right choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeremy Marr. I live and work in Bangor Township. I'm blessed to be a part of this community. I moved here 3 years ago and have fallen in love with the people. This is my community here, and I'm very proud of them. One of the things that I'm most proud of is our waterways. I mean, we have this beautiful little idyllic gem of a river, the Cuyahoga River, that feeds into the mouth of the bay. We have the bay right here in our backyard. When we start neglecting our waterway, we're susceptible. I mean, what's next? What are we gonna, I mean, this isn't a GoFundMe issue. We're not here begging for money. It's there and it's earmarked for the project. And when the greater good gets put on the back burner, I think we forgot why we got elected. Please just do the right thing, do your job. Appreciate you.
I'm Sally Lewis. I live in Garfield Township, also have property in Williams Township. Both of them are in drains. One's on the Johnson Drain in Garfield Township, but the one that Hopler Drain is in Williams Township. They've just redone the drain. It goes right through our property. It's huge. And I'm here to tell you just what that man just told you and the lady before that. It's got to drain somewhere. It flooded our farm. Every year it got water on, water raising. But that water has to go somewhere. It's not going to stay on our farm anymore because that problem was fixed. It's going to go downstream and flood somebody else's. So I'm here on behalf of all the people in Bay County and hope you support this measure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana Kowalski, 203 River Trail Drive. I do live on the river, about 6 houses from the mouth, straight across from Mr. Raleigh. I'm not here for me. I built my house. I have a letter map amendment. I'm out of the floodplain. I'm not concerned about my personal home flooding. I've seen Mr. Raleigh's home flood numerous times, but this draining or dredging the mouth of the river isn't even about that, because that had to do with northerly winds, northeasterly winds that bring all that water in and raise the water. That's when his house, I felt so sorry for him. Those are uncontrollable, and those are going to continue to happen. But it appears that there is a type of flooding that is controllable, and that's that 253 square miles of the watershed basin. And I did bring pictures, but I think you've seen all the pictures. So it's like a funnel, right? Going all the way up to Gladwin, Midland County, Saginaw County, and then, of course, over Tobico Marsh and down into Bangor Township. So what happens when you take and fill a funnel and you got one that has a restricted outlet on it? It overflows. And then you make a mess. It damages things around you, or if that opening's too small. So I got a really good view of the mouth of the Calcon River. I think it's about 250 feet across, maybe 300, 200, 300 feet. The opening right now in the dredge, I would say is about 30 feet. So what's happened to that funnel? So all the water in the back during the spring rains, when the snow melts, is piling up. I referenced the Calcon Watershed Management Plan that was done in 2010 and looked at a bunch of facts. And it's interesting that the water flow, the cubic feet per second in the Calcon River is 75 to 116 cubic feet per second. So a tandem dump truck like that hauls sugar beets holds about 12 to 16 cubic yards. That's about 112 cubic feet. So every second, that amount of water is moving through the river. And that's just average. It was measured as high as 1,610 cubic feet per second, 10 times more water. So we know in the spring, that water is bringing sediment from upstream. It can't get out the mouth of the river. It's backing up like a funnel with a small opening. And I can only imagine how much damage that's doing to Bay County's properties. Like when water crosses roads, you have to close the roads off. We know what happens when water stays on roads, it damages them, and there's got to be a huge cost to repair there. Dikes, ditches, culverts, all that. Banks that erode, all that, cleaning out the ditches because of the erosion. All that has to cost a lot of money. And it probably could be solved by opening up the end of the funnel to allow the water to go through. So it just seems to make sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Larry Green, and I survived the flood of '86. It's been that long since I first moved out on the Calcon River. And one of the things that you learn to appreciate if you live on a waterway is the force that Mother Nature can wreak upon any one of us. And a lot of times it's without a lot of notice. I remember getting phone calls to come home from my father-in-law, who I had the privilege to live next door to, telling me, oh, by the way, stop by and get some empty sandbags, we're going to be busy. Those are the kind of phone calls you don't want to get. Those are the phone calls that you don't want to have to drive home thinking about what's the next move, what are we going to do. We have the chance one time, this time, to remove some structure, remove some of the debris out of the mouth. This is going to buy us time. There's a whole lot of people in this room and people on the board that really want us to put together a group effort so that we're not looking for money every 3 to 5 years. I've been on the board for the Calcon River Watershed Association for about 5 years now. I've worked on a number of major projects, not just the cleanups, which they do a great job getting some of the smaller debris out of the river, but we're looking long-term. That's why I'm here. I'm asking for your support to bring this money so that we can go ahead and fix this and get the train back on the track so that we're not living with water in our yards. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. My name is Terry Spencer. I don't live on the river, but I hope to someday. I'm here today as the Monitor Township Supervisor. Flooding is a big issue in Monitor Township. It's about as flat can be. We depend on the drains, as others indicated. We have a lot of them drains in Monitor Township that flow directly in the Calcallan River. We had a board meeting yesterday, and I'm here to just show my support for the dredging project and also indicate that in our discussions with our board that the entirety of our board would hope that the county could get this moving forward. I think it would be a good thing for everyone, and certainly it would help with some of the flooding issues that we've had in Monitor Township. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Hi there. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. My name is Robert Rao. My friends call me Bob. I live at 411 River Road. Many things make up Bay County and where we live. Our school system is supported by all of us. Our hospitals, our Players Theater, our State Theater, Uptown, Downtown, Winona Park, the band shell, the bridges, the rivers, and the parks. They are all jewels in our county. It makes up the necklace that makes Bay County attractive. All of these things. All are supported by all of us. And without them, our lives would be less, much less appealing for attracting new business, new residents, new investments, or new tourists. The Calcallan River has been an important jewel in Bay County for eons. Long before our statehood in 1835, there were 11 Indian villages between the mouth of the Calcallan River and the village of Calcallan. The second sawmill in the county was on the Calcallan River. The fishing industry was made viable in the county when in the lagoon within the Calcallan River was made and built so fresh fish could be held and shipped as needed. The Calcallan is and has been instrumental in many ways. Our backwaters were the hatching place for the walleye success that currently exists on Saginaw Bay and is still the spawning ground for those walleyes. The Calcallan is a source for irrigation to our farmers and residents. It is a drainage system from storms and flooding for all residents living in that 250-mile drainage system or watershed. It is a window to nature and an important part of wildlife in our county. Thousands, I mean thousands, of birds migrate through in spring and fall, finding refuge and rest in the waters on the backwaters of the Calcallan River. It is a quiet place and used for recreation, for canoeing, kayak, fishing, boating, pontooning, snowmobiling. It is a place to sit on the shores, on the banks, on the porches, on the decks, and enjoy a meal. Enjoy a barbecue at sunset, a visit with friends, and dining on the river. We all enjoy this. It is a port in a storm to get off the bay and a door to Saginaw Bay. A place to reflect, to unwind, to enjoy by all of the county, not just the residents. But the Calcallan needs help. We need to keep this Bay County asset healthy. We need to support it like we do the other jewels of our county. We need to polish it up on occasion. This funding will help do this. It will remove man-made obstructions put into place when the steam engines were the high-tech industries of the time. It will improve the drainage for agriculture, for home security, for residents and visitors. It will make the area more appealing. and more appealing to development, to housing, to farming, to agriculture, to investment, to nature, and to your and my quality of life. I urge the county board to support this funding, to put their stamp on improving one of the jewels that makes Bay County stand out as a special place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Gave, and I live at 293 Lagoon Beach Drive. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. Upon hearing about this controversy, I was actually a little bit surprised that it was a controversy, and I tuned into last week's board meeting to understand what the counter argument was. I think the folks before me have done a great job of articulating the technical benefit with improving the drainage and the emotional benefit for the folks that have been impacted. So I wanted to understand what it was that was the sticking point, and I have to admit I was a bit dismayed by the tenor of the conversation from the last meeting, and it seemed to be based on procedural elements and not on the merits of the project itself. Some pet peeves perhaps about how information reached various commissioners, and not anything about whether or not the project itself should move forward. I heard something irks me about the way that the project, or the way that the funding reached one of the commissioners. To me, I think that that's not the best reason to make a decision. I would hope that you listen to your other constituents who are commenting on the merits of the proposal and not your own personal squabbles. Also, Commissioners Millett and Herrick, I think that there's, the argument by the Army Corps of Engineers that this project is technically sound. I think that that argument has been made well. And Commissioner Millett, I was particularly troubled by the comment that you made about how you sell waterfront properties on a daily basis and that people should expect that flooding should happen to them if you live near the water. As a realtor, I would hope that those aren't the comments that you make to your clients, and especially when you're in a position where you can help to make that less of a reality. Unfortunately, it is true today that there is some amount of flooding that is to be expected, but you have the power to help to change that. So I hope that that's not something that you put in a disclaimer for your waterfront properties when you go to sell them, that you should expect flooding. I don't think that that should be true, and I think that you have the power to change it. So as a resident in that 225 square mile drainage, I would encourage you to support the drainage, just to support the project, and yeah, please help it to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If I mentioned we have a 5-minute limit, and direct your statements to the chair, not to the commissioners, please.
My name's Tom Gunther. I live at 160 Bayshore Drive. I'm on the Colquhoun River Watershed Association Board as well as the Safety Committee. On the Safety Committee, we are responsible for installing and removing the channel markers. And I can tell you our channel at best is 30 feet wide and an average of 4 to 5 feet deep. And it is not going to get better without some help. I urge your support.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Rosaticky. I live at 3238 Hidden Road. I had been a past member of the KRWA, and I say it that way because it used to be the Colquhoun River Property Owners Association. Then we were sought out by the DEQ to embrace the watershed because of all the problems that were upstream of that, flooding, everything else, farmers. So our association at that point started a 501c3. We were no longer a property owners association. We still clean the river in the spring of the year, and we do all that stuff. We have a tax levy against us to keep the weeds out. We pay for all that. Monitor Township has some 30-some people that also pay for that treatment to be done. And but I'd like to reflect back on what Mr. Green had talked about when the flood of '86 was here. I know we have some younger commissioners, so I won't ask for a show of hands, but I'll assume that you may not remember that. But I remember that day vividly. And I'll tell you what I remember the most. Going up Fraser Road, seeing that Ford Escort jammed into the trees, the man tried to go over it. He was a senior, and he died of exposure. Do we need that? Can we have the wisdom to look ahead and say, maybe we can do something preventative to stop that possibly from occurring? All I can say is it's a situation. I listened to the SGW radio news the other day, and I noticed, we have firemen on the board, but there was a Kramer's meat market that burned up, and they announced, and a Saginaw fire truck came in to help put out the fire. What if they said, hell with them, let them burn? It's kind of the way I feel about what's going on here. Let them burn. So, I know it's a sensitive issue. I know there's politics involved on the board, and I apologize that had to happen, but I can't do anything about that. All I can suggest to you is that take a hard look in your soul, and when you get up in the morning, look in the mirror and determine what kind of person you want to be for the rest of your life. And make decisions that are better for the county, not strictly for yourself. And hopefully we can go forward and kind of make this all be better for everyone. I know many of the farms, I talked with farmers for the years, were victims of this. And again, with it being a watershed, it's not the people on the river, trust me. They've already got their stuff together, if I can use that term. They don't have the problems that you may think they have. This is all upstream. Like I said, Fraser Road, when that poor gentleman was still stuck in the car dying of exposure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? We're going to close public comment. Thank you. Move on to petitions and communications. Presentation by Kristen Wenzel from Great Lakes Bay, Michigan Works. You have handouts on your table.
And I'm going to take you through those handouts. Thank you for the opportunity to present. I do want to note that Chairman Begic is the chair of our consortium board for Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works. And also with me is Eric Rodriguez, Workforce Development Board Chair. We have 2 governing boards, as is Ray Ogden, our Chief Financial Officer. So if I could share with you the presentation that I presented last week to the Isabella County Commission. You're receiving the same presentation that they received. And if we go to slide 2, what I'm going to share with you over the next 12 slides is a fiscal analysis and a legacy cost impact on our operations. As part of as Bay County is a member of our 5-county consortium of governments, your support of this request will help us move forward and have a full board vote to change our fiscal agent effective October 1 of 2024. So moving on to slide 3, fiscal analysis. I'm going to show how expenses have increased over the last 11 years, what our current expenses are, the impact on staffing levels and operations the rising costs have had. I'll share a comparison of retiree pension and health care, what impact changing fiscal agent would have on our organization, and request your support that Isabella County serve as our new fiscal agent effective October 1 of 2024. So moving on to the next slide, I would like to also point out the additional copy. You may find that a little bit easier to read, the numbers on that additional copy. What this is a comparison of how our costs have risen since 2012 as a baseline year. 2023 legacy costs as a percentage of our total budget have increased 36% over 2012 numbers. The dollar amount has almost doubled, while we have had to reduce 3.7 full-time equivalent employees since 2012. I want to emphasize that the methodology that Saginaw County uses to assess these charges to our organization are allowable. It's simply no longer affordable. And when you're ready, we can move on to the next slide. Chart on page 5, expense increase over the last 11 years. What this chart demonstrates compares the total legacy costs as a percentage of our approved administration budget. You can see the creep of how much of our budget is dedicated to legacy costs. Moving on to the next slide. Slide 6. This slide shows the categories that make up the legacy costs and their percentage of total administration budget. The largest shares are pension and indirect charges assessed to Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works by Saginaw County. We expect, based on conversations with Isabella County Administrator, that pension costs will significantly reduce with a change to Isabella County as our fiscal entity. Indirect charges for Isabella County services to Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works are expected to be comparable. The savings we'll realize in how pension costs will be assessed. Moving on to the next slide, what's important to take away from this slide is the top line. Our expenses per FTE assessed by Saginaw County have increased over the base year of 2012 over 250%, while total legacy costs have increased 198%. These are legacy costs only and not representative of the salary of Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works staff. I want to make that clear. The cost of doing business with Saginaw County is no longer affordable or sustainable. This year, moving on to our current expenses, this slide represents current fiscal year charges assessed by Saginaw County. The 30% cost is a slight decrease from the previous year due to the elimination of 2.75 FTEs, an action we were forced to take due to our limited funding sources. Moving on to slide 9, the impact on staffing level and operations. As late as program year 21, Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works staff included 13.75 full-time employees. Current staffing levels on paper are 11, but 2 positions are vacant. It's important to note that even with the reduction in full-time employees, the Saginaw County charges continue to climb. For the program year 21, Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works operated 21 funded programs. For the program year ending September 30th of this year, Great Lakes Bay has operated 34 funded programs, of which many are funded by 2 or more funding streams. That involves an increased level of oversight and staff time. For the same period, Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works operates 5 one-stop centers, its own 5-county data network, fiscal and program compliance, marketing and outreach, and board support. The impact on lower staffing levels matched with greater workload is employee burnout, greater use of PTO, and overall lowering of morale. If this continues, we're going to bleed experienced expert staff. Moving on to slide 10, a cost comparison. Indirect charges or indirect costs, as stated on the slide, are the costs of doing business. The cost in moving to Isabella County would be comparable. The pension and health care charges and the difference in how they're assessed is where the savings will occur. Saginaw County charges a percentage of all pension and retiree health care costs across all county departments. Isabella County retiree costs per Isabella County charges retiree costs per retiree by department. Retiree health care charges are not assessed. Isabella County departments only realize actual costs associated with their departmental employees. That will result in a significant savings for us and allow us to staff our operations at the levels that our programming requires. This will also allow us to increase services to employers and job seekers and reduce the strain on current staff resources. So we request your support for the change in fiscal agents effective October 1 of 2024.
Any questions? Mr. Harry?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kristen, the biggest change I see on here is, for 2012, it's a long time, but the retiree health care insurance, it's gone up significantly, but the pension in the last 2 years has gone down.
That's because we have had to reduce the number of employees. It's charged by full-time employee equivalent, and that's the reason that we're asking for the change.
Okay. So if you go from Saginaw to Isabella, I just want to, so how many people, I don't know, I guess, I've always had a little bit of trouble with this because it's been so pushed around so many times in the last 5 or 6 years. But how many people was Saginaw were they paying off of their, how many people was Michigan Works paying for out of Saginaw?
Every department is charged a proportionate share by Saginaw County. I don't know that we have a per head figure for you, but it is a percentage of all 600 plus retirees that have retired from Saginaw County, plus their eligible spouses' expenses, is being charged to our department. We're paying for more than the 11 employees that we have that directly worked in our department.
And so in Isabella, it'll just be, it's going to be a lot smaller number.
Correct, which is where the savings would be realized.
Right, okay, okay, that makes sense.
Dollars and cents.
It's dollars
Yes.
and cents, yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I would just comment, I've been on the board for a few years now, 15, 16, and it's been an ongoing problem. We've tried to solve it. We've tried to work through it with Saginaw. Not been able to do. Had a former controller who wouldn't agree, so that's why we're moving on. And it's because services. We want to provide the services. We want to have the employees to provide the services. So it's about jobs. It's about jobs in the county. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Yep. Mr. Rodriguez, Eric.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Again, my name is Eric Rodriguez. I serve as a Workforce Development Chair. And my day job, I am the Interim Public Relations Director for the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe, the largest employer in Isabella and Aranac counties. And, for me, this is about, and first I want to be clear, there's no wrongdoing on behalf of Saginaw County, and that's what I want to be clear. This is not pointing the finger at them. As Kristen had mentioned, this is about what's right for us to be able to be good stewards of the resources that are given to us by the state and federal entities. This is about putting more dollars into the employers and the job seekers' hands in our region. As we all struggle with talent and continued workforce throughout our region, to be able to put more resources towards that makes a lot of sense. I applaud both Kristen Ray and the staff at Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works for all the work that they have done. They have assumed the responsibilities, going down 2.5 full-time employees over this tenure, as Chairman Bigick has talked about. So for me, I really have a passion to make sure that this makes sense for their organization and really support the work that they do, and in making sure that it's a responsibility that Chairman Bigick and myself carry out for the Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works Board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any more questions? Mr. Barsha.
I just wanted to thank you, Kristen, for your update and say that we're all pleased in Bay County that we did get that issue resolved with regard to Saginaw County's costs being imposed on your organization. And you are playing a key role in helping promote economic development and create a workforce that's prepared with the skills to move us forward into the newer century now, even though we're well into it. But we do appreciate how hard you work and the staff at Michigan Works, and it's integral toward supplying our employers with the kind of well-trained and skilled workforce that we need, working with Delta College and certainly the role that you play in the region. So thank you. And I'm so glad that that issue is resolved and behind us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. One last call for questions. Otherwise, motion to receive would be in order.
Support.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to appointments. We have a request for appointment to the Bay County Veterans Affairs Committee from congressionally chartered or veterans organization, 1 4-year term. Receive and confirm appointment. Mr. Van Tol, as you can see, has has the recommendations from several of the Marine Corps League, the American Legion, Polish Legion, DAV, and the Marine Corps League. So, and he's been on the board before, so I would look for a motion to appoint Jonathan Van Toll to the Veterans Committee, Bay County Veterans Affairs Committee.
Motion to receive and confirm appointment.
Do these need to be two different things, two different?
Two separate motions.
Yeah, two separate motions.
Yeah.
So motion to receive is, you're up, Dennis.
Okay, motion received.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we need a motion to appoint.
Motion to appoint.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we have a request for appointments to Bay County Department on Aging Advisory Committee. Receive and confirm. These are pretty much selections by the individuals in districts 1, 3, 5, and 7, and they have been confirmed that they're willing to accept. So we need a motion to receive.
Move to receive.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then a motion to confirm the appointment.
Motion to appoint.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the Ways and Means Committee, Commissioner Benajak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2023-228, MSU Extension Agreement of Services. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-229, Civic Plus Contract. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-230, Supplemental Actuarial Valuation. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-231, $40,000 budget adjustment for medical and treatment costs for one inmate. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-232, budget adjustment for $20,000 for the juvenile home. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-233, Regional Perennial Quality Initiative Agreement with Saginaw County Community Mental Health Authority. I move this resolution.
Support.
We have an amended version. I believe it's on your table. The amended version changes it from the mental health, behavioral health, to the Saginaw County Health Department. So
Okay,
so we need a motion to amend the resolution to reflect the change.
So moved.
All right.
Everybody understand the change? Joel, any comment? You're too far away for the microphone. So I guess we have two motions. We have to amend the resolution and then vote on the amended resolution. So we need a motion to amend.
I'll make a motion to amend.
Support.
Discussion?
I think we
All
did
those in
already.
favor? Say aye.
We already did that.
You already did that one.
We already
Okay,
did
do
that.
the other one.
We did a motion to amend. You got to vote on a motion to amend, then we did.
Yeah. So then, the amended version?
I
We
make
have
a
to vote
motion.
on?
We
All right.
moved. Okay.
Okay,
We
motion?
moved.
Motion
We
to-
did. We
Yep,
did.
support. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right.
Resolution number 2023-234, Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, Medical Marijuana Operation Oversight Grant for 2024. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-235, Community Health Assessment for 2024. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-236, MDARD Welfare Grant. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-237, renewal of property and liability insurance with Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority for 2024. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-238, award of fire panel replacement for county building and law enforcement facility. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-239, agreement with BMC Track at, I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-240, payables. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-241, 2024 Bay County budget with revisions and revisions of removal of line item 10110100-96900, 250,000 appropriations to the Bay County Road Commission for Coquitlam River dredging project, related language pertaining to its appropriations. I move this resolution.
And support? So there are a couple of revisions in here that we want to go over here maybe first before we vote on it.
Did we have support, Bob?
We have page 6 or page 23 of the budget.
Vaughn,
Yes.
was there support on that first?
Oh, yes, we support that.
I think Tom did.
I'll support it because I have a question.
Yeah.
So, is this the first day we see, I haven't seen this before.
Those are changes to the board rules that are just getting laid on the table that doesn't have.
Is this part of this?
No.
Oh, where's the, I don't know where the thing is. What am I looking at? This says revisions in red.
1882.
There's nothing in red.
So I just want to, we probably should vote before, we have the amendments in here. There's on page 6 of the budget, or page 23, if you wanted to look at that, 11G, there is or other revenues, so the elected officials, authorized department division heads are authorized to receive Bay County grants, contributions, or other revenues with a value of $10,000 or less with approval of the finance officer. So that's one change. And the other one is 14, the next page. The county executive shall submit to the Board of Commissioners at their first full board meeting a list of authorized department heads. That is a change to the board rules, but, so those are the two changes that are in that, and we probably should vote on the original motion. But do we have any amendments?
I have an amendment. I'd like to amend Resolution 2023-241, the 2024 Bay County budget, to add back line item 10110100-96900, the $250,000 appropriation to the Bay County Road Commission for the Coquitlam River dredging project, and related language pertaining to this appropriation. In addition, with the provision that any allocations from other sources for the project will reduce the allocation from Bay County by that amount.
Thank you.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
I need a support. Yes.
Just for clarity of the record, as it relates to that motion, Commissioner Nemec has referenced retaining language that was included with that original line item. I would like to read that out loud into the record.
Sure.
So all of the board members are aware of the language that she is requesting to be replaced back into the budget. To allocate $250,000 to and authorize the Bay County Road Commission pursuant to MCL 324.33701 to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Bangor Township to contract with the Federal Army Corps of Engineers or any agency of the federal government, whereby the federal government or agency will pay 50% of the cost and will perform the whole of the work connected with the dredging of the mouth of the Coquitlam River, which has been described to the county by the Army Corps of Engineers as a flood control or drainage control project, with said agreements/contracts to contain specific terms, including but not limited to the holding and saving of the United States free from damages due to the construction, works required by act of Congress or federal regulation as a condition for participation on the part of the federal government.
So I think we will have discussion on the amendment, first of all. We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion on the amendment to the,
Was the motion seconded?
No.
Mr. Chair?
somebody,
Need a second on
yeah,
the
was there a
motion?
second there for the amendment? We need a second for the amendment.
I'll second it.
Okay. Now we can have discussion. If we don't have discussion, we'll have a vote. Last chance on discussion. All right, we'll have a roll call vote.
Benajak?
Yes.
Millet? No. Herrick?
No.
Radke? No. Poyer?
No.
Nemec?
Yes.
Begic?
Yes. So this only took 4 votes to get it onto the main motion. So, yeah,
Mr. Chair, motion fails.
that's right, it did fail. That's correct. Yes, we had 4 noes and 3 yeses, yeah. Okay, so we're back to the main motion, which does not include the $250,000. And it gives us a budget. So we like to have a budget. So I think we had a motion on it already.
And supported by
Yes.
supported it.
So is there any discussion on the main motion? Yeah.
Go ahead. I just want to say thank you for all the departments for willing to work with us this year for our budget, especially the finance department, and Mr. Barsha for his administration working with us. We had some hard decisions to make, and we made them, and the departments were willing to give up some stuff in their departments for this year, and I just want to thank them all for helping us out this year.
I would like to say the same. It's our first go-around, and we spent a lot of hours on it. We had a lot of help from administration, Shauna and Kim, and a lot of people went into putting the budget together. So, any more comments? Mr. Herrick?
Yeah, for the last 10 years, every department, every year goes through the same thing. There's a lot of department heads here that show up every week for our meetings, and they all, every time we've asked them to tighten, to pull the belt in a little bit and move it up a notch, somehow, I don't even know how they do it sometimes, but they do. They work very hard, and I think our employees in Bay County go the extra mile all the time. They give more than a lot of places, that I see. They're just very special, and I just want to thank all of them because they work so doggone hard, people have no idea what these people do around here, and I do. I've had the pleasure of being here for a while, and so I get to see it. And that'd be my thank you to them because they go, it doesn't matter what department it is, Division on Aging, 911, Sheriff's Department, the clerk's office, the Drain Commission, they all do the same thing, Finance Department, everybody works hard. So thank you. And I think that's all I got.
Mr. Barsha?
Yeah, I know it wouldn't have made a difference to speak before the vote on the amendment, but I would point out that regarding the last issue of the dredging, to come up with a 50% match for the Army Corps of Engineers project for the Colquhoun River watershed would represent less than 1%, significantly less than 1% of our general fund. And it would not be funded with property tax revenue. As we did a streamlined RAD conversion, as I've mentioned, on the Center Ridge Arms project, which secured $9.8 million of renovation into the 99 apartments at our facility out on Pine Road. And part of that process split the developer fee with MHT out of Bingham Farms. And so we have received 2 $300,000 checks as our part of the fee. And when I included the funding for the Colquhoun River dredging, we anticipated that money would cover the match. And I know some of the townships were approached about whether they felt they could participate, and I know that's the concern of several of our commissioners. that the townships are not fully participating in the cost of the, preventing the damage to the watershed. But a lot of them have, minuscule budgets compared to ours. And I do want to clear up a little confusion too. I want to thank the board for their diligence in preparing the budget and working through this, and say that, as Commissioner Herrick did, we have an incredible staff and administration, department heads that spend their money very efficiently, providing the best service they can to our taxpayers and residents of Bay County. The other thing, I guess, that I would like to mention as we move forward, it appears maybe the dredging funding is done for this year. Supervisor Rowley and I had gotten 2 extensions from the Corps of Engineers on the deadline to come up with a match. So there's 7 months remaining to see if we can somehow cobble together the last $250,000 to complete it. In addition, what I'll do is seek out the Corps' advice on whether the $350,000 that the board graciously did appropriate for the dredging project, if we could reduce the match to $350 and $350 and do $700,000 worth of dredging. And I also want to, I don't know if that's legal or possible, but we'll find out. They're the ones that did the scope and the engineering and the estimate on the cost of the $1.2 million as they approached Bay County and the watershed folks. What I would say also is there's some confusion, I think, among some of the commission that we've had drastic cuts in the budget. I want to assure all of the commissioners, every single department in Bay County government has increased funding over last year, the year before, and the year before. There were certain items on the wish list of certain directors that were not included, although many were. But no department in Bay County government has suffered a cut in this 2024 proposed budget. So I just wanted to clarify that and say that, it appears it's dead for this year, but we'll continue to work on, and I was going to pass out to the commissioners, and I will, a sort of history back to 2006 and 2010 when Drain Commissioner Rivet proposed, working with about 20 different organizations, put a long-term fix in place so that money would be available when needed to keep the watershed dredged. And we had a significant number of organizations involved in it, and probably it was too big of a scope. It was just too massive, so it failed to get off. But with an alliance, if we were to have, it's not just Bangor's problem, it's 8 townships and 250 square miles, has been indicated here today, that are drained by the watershed. And if we could have if we could have all 8 townships or even half of them come together in an alliance, we would be eligible for other grants from Eagle, from federal sources. So we may be able to put this back together and provide for security of our Bangor Township residents, but not only them, all of the other 7 townships that are impacted when the Colquhoun River 210,000, I think, cubic yards of sediment a year builds up at the mouth of the river, and eventually it's going to have to be addressed. I would point out that when I was in Congress, we secured $19 million for a dredging project, and it has to be done periodically at the mouth of the Saginaw River. And the Saginaw River watershed goes all the way to Genesee County. But it all comes down and enters the Saginaw Bay and Lake Huron through the Saginaw River. The cost of that dredging, should it have to be borne by Bay City and Franklin-Les Township, that border the mouth of the river, would be very expensive for the taxpayers and residents of the city and the Franklin-Les Township if they had to pay even 50% of the cost. Because the Saginaw River is a U.S. navigable water, the cost is borne 100% by the Army Corps, because we have freighters and commercial traffic that use the Saginaw River. Unfortunately, the Colquhoun River doesn't have the same designation, and like every other waterway, it's a 50-50 match. So we will go back to the drawing boards and I guess in first of the year and see what we can do to work with the Corps to try to salvage the dredging project. However, I respect, I consider every one of the commissioners longtime friends, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a family feud, and we'll work through it. And, every legislator, every commissioner knows how their constituents feel, and you vote your conscience, and I think you put you try the very best to do the right thing for people of Bay County. We happen to disagree on this issue, but doesn't affect the respect and admiration I have for each one of you for serving and fulfilling the difficult roles that you do. So that's my thank you. Sure. Thanks.
So we have the main motion. We have had support. And I would say, if you want to say anything else, this is the time. Otherwise, we'll take the vote on the main motion, the budget, as is, without the amendment. All right, roll call.
Millet?
Yes.
Herrick?
Yes.
Radke?
Yes?
Poyer?
Yes.
Nemec?
No.
Benajak?
Yes.
Begic?
Yes. All right, we have a budget. Let's move on to the next committee. That's Commissioner Nemec's Personnel and Human Services.
Thank you, Chairman Begic. I move to adopt Resolution 2023-242, agreements with nurse practitioners and physician assistants.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-243, amendment of current agreement with Dr. Thomas Bender. Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-244, amendment to kindergarten dental assessment services.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt Resolution number 2023-245, Health Department, new position, family health worker and lactation educator. Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we will go to Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Herrick has the
Thank you,
honor.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Resolution number 2023-246, reports of the county executive for November. I move this resolution.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Resolution number 2023-247, a contract to place one youth at the Saginaw County Jail. I move this resolution.
Support. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
There's a motion to amend resolution number 2022-248, a Linwood Scenic Access Site Improvements Funding Match with Fraser Township Project, $110,000. I move this resolution.
Support.
So we have an amendment to it, and Laura Ogar was here last week to talk about it, and the addition is a new seawall and green space picnic area were added in, so we need to vote on the amendment first. So I guess we need a motion to move the amendment.
Was that right? Excuse me, can I ask you a question?
Is this one thing, or can we do two things?
It's
It's amended.
voting on an amendment to the motion, so.
Okay, we're
it's
voting
just
on
one.
the assignment, okay.
All right, got that? All right, so we had support? Discussion? So we're voting on the amendment with the
Okay.
addition of those words. Okay?
Words to it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Well, now the amendment moves,
we
now
don't
we
do
need the
it.
motion.
We have
That's
to do
it.
anything. You voted to amend the resolution that was passed last year.
Okay, got it. All set.
So,
That's it, right?
You're good.
Okay.
we're good.
And now we have the revisions to board rules that we received, and I'll make a motion to receive. I can use a motion. I'm going to move to receive them. How's that?
I'll support it.
And Mr.
Yep,
Chair?
good, yes.
The board rules and Robert's Rules of Order require any time that you amend the board rules, they have to be read into the record.
Okay.
In the meeting preceding the meeting in which you are actually going to vote to approve them. So at this point in time, Mr. Chair, would you like me to read the
Yes.
amended provisions into the
Real
record.
fast.
Article 1 meetings, Section 1 shall read, regular meetings of the Board of Commissioners shall be held on the third Tuesday of each month, except for months in which meetings are required by statute. Statutory meetings in April and October shall take the place of the regularly scheduled meeting in those months unless otherwise determined by the board. Any regular or adjourned meeting of the board that falls upon a legal holiday shall automatically be set over to the next regular day following that is not a legal holiday at the same time and place indicated for the regularly scheduled meeting unless the board in session determines otherwise. Article 5, duties of officers. Section 5, chairperson, Ways and Means / Personnel and Human Services, Committee of the Whole. Article 10, agenda. Section 2, it shall be the responsibility of the board coordinator, under the direction of the chairperson of the board, to assure delivery of the agenda packet by placement on a commissioner's designated desk, mail, electronically via email, or other special handling. Section 3, commissioners, committees, or others petitioning the board shall present to the board coordinator by 4 p.m. on the Wednesday preceding the board meeting notification of any resolution, petition, or correspondence to be considered at the meeting. Section 4, any notification or presentation of a resolution, petition, or correspondence received after the deadline noted in Article 10(3) will be included on the written agenda only if approved by the chairperson of the board. Any additional agenda items requested to be considered that were not included on the written agenda shall be noted by the chairperson at the beginning of the meeting and shall not be added to the meeting agenda nor considered by the board at the meeting unless approved for inclusion by a motion that is supported by a majority of the elected or appointed board members. Section 5, any item included on the written agenda must be approved for inclusion on the written agenda by the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners or the chairperson of the Committee of the Whole. Article 17, Committee of the Whole, Agenda. Section 1, an agenda shall be prepared by the board coordinator under the direction and approval of the Committee of the Whole chairperson before each meeting. Section 3, it shall be the responsibility of the board coordinator under the direction of the Committee of the Whole chairperson to assure delivery of the agenda packet by placement on a commissioner's designated desk, mail, electronically via email, or other special handling. Subsection 4, commissioners, committees, or others petitioning the Committee of the Whole shall present to the board coordinator by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday preceding the Committee of the Whole meeting notification of any resolution, petition, or correspondence to be considered at the committee meeting. Subsection 5, any item included in the written Committee of the Whole agenda must be approved for inclusion on the written agenda by the chairperson of the Committee of the Whole or the chairperson of the board. Paragraph 6, any notification or presentation of a resolution, petition, or correspondence received after the deadline noted in Article 17(4) will be included on the written agenda only if approved by the chairperson of the Committee of the Whole or the chairperson of the board. Any additional agenda items that are not included on the original agenda shall be noted by the Committee of the Whole chairperson at the beginning of the meeting and shall not be added to the meeting agenda nor considered by the committee at the meeting unless approved for inclusion by a motion that is supported by a majority of the elected or appointed board members. At this point in time, I would request a motion to put on the table the proposed changes. If that is supported and passed, the board has a month to review all of these changes. If there are any additions, subtractions, or alterations that you would like made before then, please give my office a call. I will make sure that all of those go out to the other commissioners before you vote on these at the next full board meeting in January.
What she said.
I'll support it.
I knew you could say that, Tom.
I couldn't
I'll
say it like
support
that.
it.
Lay on the table. So we have motion, support,
Yeah.
discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Reports of...
That would be all from the
Oh, yes, thank you.
Commissioners,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Reports of the county officials, departments, county executive.
Oh, I would just say that we're making real progress, Mr. Chair, as you know, on selecting the contractor for the construction of the animal shelter, and should have some news very shortly on the announcement on the general contractor and management contractor that will be heading up the construction of our new animal shelter. And then, of course, down the line, I don't know if Joel's still here, but there's a lot of excitement about the Art Van building being converted to our new Bay County Health Services building. And also, just want to mention, and those RFPs will be going out and probably in the next couple of months, and hopefully we'll get a good price on renovating that building. And I think that's pretty much it from me. Although, that'll be enough. Yeah, have them.
Hesitate, don't do it. Unfinished business. The unfinished business, any new business? We have a second chance for public input. Anybody like to do public input? Going once, twice, 3 times. Miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? Any announcements? Mr. Herrick, no sporting events? Matt?
That's a first.
The animal shelter was last week of empty the shelter, so dogs are $50 and $25 for cats. We had a great week last week, and we're doing it for 2 weeks this time, so if anybody's looking for a cat or dog for Christmas, come see us. A lot of the crowd already left those. Thank you, and have a Merry Christmas as well, everybody.
Thank you.
I think I skipped over commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments? Besides Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
That's what I was going to say.
We did the appointments already, so we're good there. And do we need a closed session?
We do not need a closed session, Mr. Chair. Is this the same Veterans Affairs Committee? Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, no need for closed session.
Okay, thank you.
It's your turn, Dennis.
Motion to adjourn.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.